Hello, everyone. My name is Beza, and I'm one of the programmers at Wiki2Queer and curator of Queer Middle East and North Africa program. We have um, one of the filmmakers attending today's Q&A, Samira from Polygraph, and Eli, the producer of Polygraph. Welcome. How are you feeling today? Good.
I'm on mute. No.
Um, no, you're not on mute. Yeah, Samir,
Yeah, I'm trying to rename myself. Anyway.
do you wanna introduce yourself a little bit? Tell us about yourself.
Yes.
Background.
Well, hey, hello everybody. My name is Samira. I'm 45 years old. I'm an Israeli Palestinian queer woman, although sometimes, woman, it's fluid. I'm the director of the film Polygraph. Um, and I am happy to be here with you.
Thank you. And Eli, do you wanna introduce yourself?
I'm co-producing the film with my wife, Sari Azuzberger, who couldn't be here at the moment. She's attending our children. We have a long relationship with Samira, starting with Sari, who directed her in a television series which had two season runs in Israel, very successful on public television. So we heard about this story, and because it is as you will hear, it is based on a true story, and it's a personal experience of Samira, and it was just magic to know about it, and we got attached right away, and that's how I'm here now.
Yeah. Actually, that was gonna be one of my first questions. About the story being from Samira's life, and we see Samira also as the lead actress as well. I wanted to ask the process of choosing this story, and based off of your life, and how was it for you, and how much of the story is fiction, whereas how much of it is really the story itself.
Uh, well, yes, I'm the lead actors in the film, but just to tell you the truth, I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to play the the lead actor. First of all, because this is my first directing work, and I wanted to be available to it. It's a hectic thing to do with a lot of time investment and emotional investment. So I didn't want to play it. I wanted to be the director of it. But when I came to cast the film, I had trouble casting. I had trouble finding an actress, a Palestinian actress that is willing to do the role. First of all as a lesbian, but especially when the character is having a sexual act, being naked with a woman in the same bed, God forbid. Oh. It's a joke, yes.
Yeah.
So, so at the end, this is why I did it. This is why I play it. I wanted to be a director only for it. I couldn't find someone, but also I wanted this character, this story, to become alive in a different body, different flesh, actually, because our flesh and the memory of our body kind of influence the character, influence the character and influence what comes out of it. But unfortunately, and maybe fortunately, I'm the one who play it, because seeing now the film, I understand how I am the one who needed to do that, because there's micro things, I call it micro movements that it could be brought to the screen only by someone who lived, only by flesh, not someone who lived this experience. I talk a lot about the flesh itself because I believe that our body had memory by itself. And it also performed in the film, this memory. The meeting between the characters, I want to put them first of all naked in the bed. And still, when we are naked, our bodies contains what happens outside, contains the power relationship. Whereas at the beginning, we meet them flesh with no power relation, that every position in sex can happen between them. The Jewish on top, the Palestinian, we want the Jewish and the Palestinian, but the moment that there's the alarm, suddenly this position with this flesh couldn't continue exist as it's the harmony. So everything needs to be changed, the lighting, the position itself, telling the story that we contain our experience inside our bodies, and it contains you in the memory of the flesh.
Yeah, that I think that that's one of the things that is really strong about the story and about the film. When I was watching it, knowing that, and like, I think I like to watch the films before I read the synopsis and the director's statement.
Mhm.
And after watching, I think reading your statement in the story of the film, it felt really powerful that you were the one who experienced this, who wrote this story, and you were the lead actress. I think that that affected a lot, and also I can feel that like watching it back again, as well, and now hearing the thought process that went beyond it. Um, how much?
It's even more queer than you think. It was shot in my house, you see.
Wow.
You can see it. You can see it. This is the kitchen where things happen. Okay, it was shot in my house and in my bed. Yes, and also the clothing of the characters. My sister wear clothes. The character who played the actress who played my sister. She's were wearing my real sister clothes, and I believe that it had its own effect on the vibe or the feeling of the film.
Yeah, and how much so now seeing that it is like your apartment, your stories, how much of this story, like, are there any fictional elements that went into the story, or is it just like, really a memory from as you lived in?
It's factional and not factional because it's collected from many moments that happened in this relationship. That it doesn't just come this the story like the driving the car. It was in different situation than the polygraph situation. Meeting my sister, it was in a different situation, and but it's all was taken from life. You probably won't notice it because it's in Hebrew written like when Yasmin goes after she got the groceries and she walks, we see her walks in Tel Aviv, and there's a couple of guys walking with a boy. You realize that they are gay men, but one of them wearing a T-shirt in the colors or the flag colors written proud of in the FDA. The FDA, no, FDA, it's for the food.
No,
You
IDF.
see, even
IDF.
please
It's
do
the
not
Israeli
raise it in
Defense
the.
Force, the Israeli Army. So yeah.
No,
Oh,
it's because the Corona FDA. It's all the yes, but they.
I was actually gonna ask about the gay dads. It was I like the choice that went behind it, and I mean I could say that it was a rainbow written on a T-shirt in Hebrew, but I didn't know what it meant.
Yeah, so it's
like,
written in Hebrew, Gi'eh bitsahal. Gi'eh, it's proud, as I'm proud in someone, but also queer. Gi'eh, like because we have
Proud to be gay. Yeah, and
so
gay is
proud in
gay.
the Israeli military.
oh, I
It's
see. So
these
these guys
T-shirts
are
were,
in Israeli military. That's
yeah.
interesting. That's a very interesting choice.
So it's a play where you say like when you write Gi'eh b'tzahal, it means queer in the Israeli military, and I'm proud in the of the Israeli military. So
Yeah.
so there's things also in this film that only the people who lives in the sphere can see it or notice it.
Yeah. That's really like interesting to hear because I could tell these little choices of, you know, you driving in the car through the city, seeing the checkpoints, the pros. I also read that you are you write some rap or like prose. Was it also your lyrics to that song?
No, it's not my lyrics, but it's my band. Yes, it's it's System Ali, one
Mhm.
of the most amazing artists that exist now in Israel, and Eli will say yes, of course.
Yeah, oh, they are amazing, but they're all from different backgrounds, and that's the beauty of it. That Samira will explain, but
Yeah,
they are.
it's a hip hop band that exists that started in Jaffa, and we rap in Arabic, Hebrew, English, Russian, Amharic,
Jaffa
Yiddish.
is basically the Arabic part of Tel Aviv. Just
Yes, Jaffa is the Arabic part of Tel Aviv, or Tel Aviv is the Jewish
or
part of
the Jewish
Jaffa.
part of Jaffa. Exactly.
It depends where you look
No
from.
offense. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. So one of the things that I can really relate to, I'm from Turkey, so it's not that far away from Israel. And as a queer woman in Turkey, you live in an intersection of identities as a Muslim woman as well. And I wanted to ask you your experience living in the intersections of all these like shared experiences of queer women in the region, but also as a Palestinian woman in Israel, and how it is like for you.
um, as you say, the junctions where there's a the junction is probably had a lot of pressure, but also I see it as an opportunity always. Because why I say that? Because these junctions make me who I am now, and making me a person who realized because I'm oppressed. It doesn't matter if because my gender, my nationality, my color, or whatever. I experienced oppression, and this gave me the chance to understand how it feels and how to decide that I don't want to be the one who oppress someone else. So, so this junction, I always look at them in a positive or an optimistic way, because always I look at things and trying to see how they can promote my life, making me happier, making me stronger, making me wiser, and yes, the moment that you are like I'm a woman in a patriarchal way, in a patriarchal society, so I'm oppressed basis on my gender. The things that my brother allowed to do is not, I'm not allowed to do. And if I want to get to the point that I have a freedom like my brother, I need to fight hard and I need to pay for it cost. I'm an Arab woman in the Jewish state. Yes, this is the name of the place. They call it democratic, whatever, but it's Jewish. By its definition, I'm less. I'm oppressed. So again, another junction or another layer of my identity ask me to be in always in front of something, always with a active in order to
Stay ahead of the game.
yeah,
Yeah.
to overcome things. And of course, being a LGBT woman, being queer in a heterosexual world. And I'm telling people, we are still in a very, very conservative and heterosexual world. Although we see parades in Tel Aviv and Amsterdam and whatever, but the most of the world, it's not Amsterdam, Berlin, London, or New York, or any place. It's our work, our responsibility to continue doing this, continue fighting. I don't like this word because it comes from the word to fight. Uh, so, so yes, being a part of different circles, that in every circle I'm facing oppression. It's not easy, and it's yes, there is cost that I paid along the way, and I think that I am still paying, but it's worth it. I'm telling you, it's worth it, because a sentence in a song of System Ali. It says, "כל גבול אותו חצינו, הותיר בנו סימן, מגדל בבל זה כאן." Every border that we cross, it keeps a mark in our flesh.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Beautiful.
And we learn from it.
Yeah. You said that it is, it's worth it, and I totally agree with you on that. Like, being brave, putting your story out there, maybe fighting with words instead of arms. And I was curious if this movie was shown anywhere else, or in Israel or in Palestine, and how the reaction to the story, to the film was.
It was, till now, it was shown in Tel Aviv in the LGBT film festival, in Sydney, right, Ellie? Help me here.
It was shown, but I think she's specifically now asking the local response, and to that I can say the film a little bit obviously was hit by coronavirus, as all of us been. So live audiences couldn't see it yet. So we are planning to have a first event with System Ali, and have a screening with live people, but we haven't got a date yet even for this. But it's going to happen soon, and there are already discussions that are happening outside the country. It's going to be shown now in Paris on a conference, in New York on a conference, and many other festivals. Obviously, right now this is you guys are the American premiere for us. So we are very glad because we love the festival.
But yes, we are waiting for a live audience with beat and breath. And but yes, it's screened here in the TLV
Great success,
festival,
yeah.
and locally, yes, we get it was. There is a range of reactions, and if part that it's really moved by it, and there's part that they are angry about it. Whether they are Israeli or Palestinians, the Israeli, that they are angry that how dare such a relationship can exist. How dare the character calls the soldier a murderer? How dare? Well, I dare, first of all. and second, every piece that you do, everything, every time you open your eyes, there's someone is going to be not satisfied from it. But if we're talking what is the things or what's the claims against the film, it's based in the first point of the film, that the relation itself, the relation itself. There's someone that she sent me. I don't know her. She's Palestinian, and she sent me. She's from Paris. She didn't see the film. She only read the article about it, that it was written in French, and she said that she don't believe that a Palestinian can be in a relationship with a Jewish. It's for her. She said, yes, I don't know how to react, but it makes me very angry and sad how like people can really feel betrayed by this relationship, that how come you do that. And so there's different
Many layers
reactions
to it. Yeah.
to the film, but the most important reaction, and I'll be very humble now, it's mine.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of this piece, and I stand 100% behind it, and I love it, and I think that it can be only like this.
Yeah. I think for me, I think regardless of religion and cultural identities, I think being with someone who works at a military would be hard in any concept, and that's my only hard feeling about this relationship. Um, I think, yeah, like any law enforcement, like police, if the character was a police, I would feel the same. If the character was, like the in the military, I feel the same way. But other than that,
I totally agree with you. Sorry.
yeah,
And
yeah,
for
go on.
me, doing this film also dealing with myself,
Yeah,
asking myself where I am, me,
Who am I? Who am I?
who am I? Who was this one that I look at here in the screen now that I edit? And I know that like we separate eventually after 4 years of relationship. That the first 8 months she was in the military, and then she decided that she's leaving the military, because you cannot be with Palestinian and continue being blind as you need to be in order to do the things that you do as a soldier
yeah,
in the intelligence. Okay. So but in somehow this continue to be between us, this
yeah,
space or this stone, a heavy one, continue to be with us. I know that in order to be with her at the 8 month when she was practicing going to the army and bombing in Gaza, it was very very hard for me, and I understood through the process of the film that I was disconnected from myself.
mm,
This is why at the end of the film the sister says to the character, you become just like my mother.
mm,
That she closes you in these two sentences you understand so much about the history of the characters of the. She said, it's really funny that you all your life you said I won't become, I don't want to be my mother, and this is exactly what you become. Someone who's closing her eyes, her mouth, and her ears just in order to survive. And this voice is one of the voices, we see it as the sister of the character, but for me it was part of my voice, the inner voice. I can look at all the characters in this film as my inner side.
yeah,
So I understand it was very hard for me when she comes back from the army and she need to go inside the shower. And I remember the first time that I put my hand on her when she was with I'm saying that, and my hand just tickles now because my body had memory.
yeah,
So I know it wasn't easy. It was a process,
yeah,
and I can see why you feel such a feelings towards such images.
yeah, yeah. um yeah, and also that's one of the things that I was curious about the character. Like talking about the character is also talking about your life, so it's just um I think as a queer Muslim woman, like my family, my partner is Jewish, and I think being in the army in like Israeli politics and being Jewish in America is a lot like very different things. And there I know a lot of queer Jewish community here standing against the Israeli politics and occupation of Palestine. Moving on from that, I think this was one of the conversations between me and my partner about how my family will react to her. And I think I was like, they wouldn't even care about your religion. The fact that I am dating with a woman is a big problem for them. And I was curious about this relationship and your family, like and the family of the character. Is it hard for them to accept that this relationship because it's LGBT, or is it hard to accept this relationship because it's with an Israeli person, or it's with an Israeli person who's in the military? Like, what is the what is the like hardest conversation in that moment?
Yeah. Well, in 2009, ooh, I'm so old that I mean 2009, yeah. In 2009, a documentary film that I was part of called City of Borders. It's an American production. That I was asked there. I had a partner then, Jewish. It's not out of racism. I go out only with Jewish. It's a joke. Well,
Because but it's either Jewish or Arabic here most of the time.
yeah,
Right?
I mean,
Try
Yeah.
to go.
so they asked me that how my family reacted that she's a Jewish. I said, well, do me a favor. It doesn't matter a Jewish or what Jewish. She's a woman. They are still there. Jewish, Japanese, or whatever. It's like from the outside or whatever. But she's a woman. So it was like more than 10 years ago. But this relationship, it wasn't the issue. The military was the issue.
Yeah.
You asked, I don't know if you asked, you didn't ask it. But if we are talking about, yes, you asked about which biography and which is fiction.
Fiction.
So the biography that I didn't, my youngest sister, that she's younger than me in 2 years. She's the closest sister that I have, and I told her everything, and I couldn't tell her that she's in the army. While my sister lives in Ramallah and go through checkpoints and through the harassment of the army and through sometimes she can wake up in the morning and there's an army and soldiers under her house and she cannot go out. Sometimes she don't have electricity or water or whatever, and still she lives in Ramallah, not in this in a closer.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway, was the hardest thing for me to tell her. And I remember the day that I told her. She was standing, and like, she comes always and she cooks for me. This is to tell you the truth. I don't eat if she don't cook. She always cooks for me. And she was standing there and cutting vegetables. And I remember that I was like, I just threw it like when you threw a hot potato. And I said, yes, she's in the army. And I remember that she just turned around and looked into my eyes and she said, you serious? And the look, the disappointment in her eyes, I never saw it.
Yeah.
Never saw it. I did a lot of things in my life. Of course, not when I came out to her or something like that. She was always there, but the pain that she felt, the moment that she understood, she told me, I don't know what is the limit for you. So it didn't happen in a dinner, and she didn't jump on on her. But yes, they had a lot of hard debates My sister, she's a very, very tough debater. And to tell you the truth, we separate and they still friends. They meet each other. My sister and my ex-girlfriend, yeah, they meet. One day I was very angry about her in the beginning when we separate, and I said something bad, and my sister said, "No, don't talk like this. She's a very, very nice girl."
Oh my God. That's an interesting twist to the story. I wasn't
See,
expecting that.
that's also why when you're hearing all this, we obviously decided even before we got the short made that we'll make a feature film out of the story. So we're working on that screenplay, and
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah,
wonderful, wonderful experience.
yeah, I have two last questions. One is I see that you're a nurse and you're a filmmaker and wearing different hats. I wanted to ask you how is that for you?
First of all, for the last 4.5 years, almost 5 years, I don't do nursing. I quit nursing almost 5 years ago because I wanted to be fully occupied in art, writing, and directing. I'm an actress, what we call it non-actor. I never studied acting. It's naturally. I studied acting at home because to be a number 11 out of 13 children, you need to be very manipulative and to know how to play. Eh, so, but when I start acting, I was a nurse in the hospital, and people told me, "Wow, it's so far away from each other, nursing and acting." And it took me a second to think about it, and I said, "No, it's the same." Because to be a good nurse, you need to be willing to be, and this is what a good actors need to be, not to do. Many actors want to learn how to say the words or how to I don't know, but to play. I don't play, I just be. And I think being a nurse and being able to be in such a tough, I've worked for almost 20 years with a cancer patient and bone marrow transplant patient,
Mhm.
a tough place, but it taught me a lot about life and how to be without fear, not to fear from what comes at that moment. So for me, it's the same, nursing and acting, not the same. It's like had the same qualities of being.
Yeah, that's good to hear that like how that relationship from your work came into acting. And yeah, my last question was going to be what's next? I saw that you were working on a feature on the statement as well. And what are the next projects? What we should look out for?
Uh, Future, it's a fiction, you know. I live every day,
The
and I do
future.
things that I think I do things that I love, and I love the things that I do. It's a very big statements, but for the actual things, as Ellie said, we are working on the future. I'm a part of a team writing a series for the television, two different projects. And I continue write songs and performing and doing art and activism, hoping that one day our life will look different, our reality.
Yeah. Eli, do you have anything to add?
Oh, not really. I think that that is really what we are set out to do is to change those things that we can we can accept each other and tolerate each other and learn more about each other, understand the endless possibilities. So we're very happy to be here, and wish you a lot of luck and success with the festival and
Yeah,
everything you
thank
do.
you so much for being part of it. And yeah, please, if you have more films in the future, feature films, short films, please submit
Intermediate.
things for them. Yeah.
We keep in touch for sure.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes.
Bye bye. Have a
Bye
good
bye.
day.